Although the capital had 8 gates that led in every direction, every single one was extremely crowded. But this time, there were actually very few people. Is it because there was some great meeting in the city? All of them went to the other city gates. Lei Gang had doubts in his heart, but he did not voice them out loud. He walked to the entrance of the city. The guard was also indifferent, looking at Long Fei and the others. He said coldly, "Go in." Lei Gang could not help but ask, "What happened in the city? Why are there so few people?" The guard impatiently said, "Why are you asking so many questions? If you want to enter, then enter. If you don't, then scram. Why are you asking so much nonsense?" Xian Yu and Xian, who didn't care that much as they skipped into the city. Long Fei said, "Let's enter the city and take a look." Lei Gang responded as he followed beside Long Fei in a low voice and said, "Young master, I keep feeling that something is amiss. Even the gods in the past have never been so cold and lonely." "Huh." Suddenly, Xian Yu screamed. Long Fei's eyes turned cold, but he did not think much about it and rushed forward. "What happened?" Xian Yu and Xian, who were stunned in place and didn't move an inch. Long Fei rushed forward, and when he saw that the two were all right, he could not help but ask, "What are you guys doing in such a state?" Xian Yu murmured, "You call this the divine capital?" "This should be called ghost, not to mention human. I haven't even seen a ghost." Lei Gang walked forward, his eyebrows tightened, and said, "Young master, there's an ambush." At this moment, rumble! With an explosive sound, the city gates closed. In that instant, buzz! A yellow flag rose from the center of the capital. Buzz! A stream of power spread out and covered the entire city. Xian, who immediately rushed towards the city gate and knocked hard, a force above the city gate sending her flying. Long Fei supported her back with one hand and neutralized the impact. Lei Gang's eyes darkened. "Young master, we are entering the array." The great god had become an empty city. The great god had become an empty city. It was so quiet that it terrified people. Long Fei caught Xian, and looked at him. "Enter the array?" "What do you mean?" Lei Gang pointed to the yellow flag erected in the center of the city, and his eyes darkened. 8 stunts array of the divine Pikshin. We are currently in a formation. The yellow flag is the initial formation. We are currently in the 8 stunts array. And Shenyu asked, "And what?" Lei Gang said, "This 8 stunts array can only be set up by the 8 highest level elders of the divine Pikshin. He is also a high-level formation in this world. 8 extinctions. Each one is a great killing array. Only the dead can come out. No living person can leave." Xian Yu secretly clicked her tongue, looked at Long Fei, and said, "Big brother Long Fei, what do we do?" Xian, who was not convinced, with a move of his, he rushed into the sky. Boom! With one step he flew into the sky and said with a deep voice, "I don't believe in 8 stunts array." He leapt 100 meters into the air. Boom! With an explosive sound, something that looked like an electric net engulfed the entire sky and directly bombarded Xian, who, Lei Gang shook his head. "It's useless. Unless we break the formation, there's nowhere to run in the sky or on the ground." Long Fei grinned. "That powerful?" Lei Gang said, "This is the strongest formation in the divine Pikshin. Looks like they already knew that we were coming to the divine sect. Otherwise, it would be impossible to set up the 8 stunts array. This kind of formation requires a lot of time to prepare and cannot be set up for a long period of time." Long Fei said, "Only by breaking the formation can we leave." Lei Gang said, "We can only break the formation, but we can't break it. Until now, when the 8 stunts array was created, no one can break it, and even the current most powerful powerhouse, Yi Wuqian, cannot break the formation." "So awesome." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "I can't stand seeing something that's more awesome than me. Since it's so awesome, then I'll break it." As soon as he finished, Long Fei stepped forward. Buzz. His body was devoured by the light waves and disappeared. The profound jade was shocked and was about to charge forward, but was caught by Lei Gang with one hand and said, "Don't go in. The place where everyone is going in is different. The more people who go in, the more dangerous it is. We are currently in a formation, but if we do not move now, there will not be any danger." Xian, whose eyes were filled with worry, and he asked, "What about him?" Lei Gang frowned and did not say a word. 8 stunts array, great killing array. The more people entered, the more vicious it became. The moment Long Fei entered the array, the surrounding atmosphere suddenly changed. It wasn't the streets of the divine capital just now, but an ancient battlefield. At 2 hillsides, there were thousands of warriors on both sides of the hill. Long Fei stood within the valley. The moment he appeared, the battle drums began to ring. Bang, bang, bang. The general in the lead drew his sword and shouted, "Kill!" Walala! Warrior on both sides of the hill madly rushed down. Long Fei was startled. "Illusion! Protect your heart!" With a flick of his finger, it cracked. The best way to break out of this illusion was pain. However, the moment Long Fei opened his eyes, he was still in the mountain valley, and there were no changes whatsoever. "Can't solve it? Interesting." Long Fei was secretly shocked, then looked at the surrounding warriors who were rushing down from the left and right, and said, "Just kill each other." "That's not right. Why do I see that their eyes are locked on me?" Long Fei's eyes turned cold. He scolded in anger. "Damn, are you all here for me? Kill! Charge! Walala! Walala!" He originally thought that this was just a battlefield, and that Long Fei had entered by accident, but he didn't expect that the tens of thousands of warriors on both sides were waiting for him to appear. A black mass was rushing towards him. Long Fei was too lazy to escape, facing such a low-level warrior. Escaping would be too shameful. "Come, I'll take however many there are." Long Fei did not move at all. He released the power of the body of Taudi and allowed the warrior S to attack him. Rumble! 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 It was a crazy attack, with a black mass of people surrounding Long Fei in the middle. S' body was completely surrounded by them, unable to move at all. However, these warriors on the battlefield had no effect on his attacks at all. It was completely useless. Long Fei muttered, "Not fun. All of you get down." The power of Long Fei, who was at the peak of the profound king realm, suddenly surged, "Die!" Boom! A stream of energy shot out and directly covered all the warriors. Just as Long Fei thought that he could easily crush these people to death, his eyes tightened. Fuck! He couldn't help but curse, because the rank of these warriors changed from the lowest level in the beginning to the profound king level after Long Fei released his power. The same level as him. All of them were peak realm S of the profound king. Tens of thousands of powerhouse of the profound king peak realm. This was defying the heavens' will, let alone the divine sect. Even the entire world would not be able to defend against so many powerhouse at the peak of the profound king realm. Rumble! Rumble! In an instant, the powers of these people underwent an earth-shattering transformation. They continuously struck and exploded with power, as if they were continuously bombarding. Damn, this formation. The 8 stunts array, does it really want this daddy's life? Long Fei frowned. Initially, he did not need to dodge, but right now he could only dodge nonstop. Too deadly. The cultivation of these people have changed due to the change in the power that I released. How can I break it? Long Fei locked his eyebrows. Neza said, "Daddy, hope is born." The power of this formation was provided by the person who entered it. Long Fei said, "How do I break it?" Neza said, "Destruction of the heart." Huh. Annihilation? How? Kill yourself? Long Fei was a little confused. Neza said, "Yes." "Right what?" Long Fei said, "Kill yourself." "Is that even right?" Neza said, "Daddy, you faked your death." Long Fei said, "How do I fake my death?" Neza said, "Lie on the ground and feign death without moving, despair, emptiness, and then feel like the world abandoned you. It's that simple." Long Fei laid on the ground, both his eyes looking at the sky, and muttered, "I was really abandoned by Earth." Thinking about what happened on Earth, wanting to become a universal realm, he really fell into despair. At this moment, rumble! A loud explosion resounded. The yellow flag in the center of the city suddenly began to burn, finally turning into ashes. Impossible! No one can break the 8 stunts array. No one knows the secrets of the 8 ultimate. How preposterous! Blue flag up. Long Fei lied on the street. Seeing that, Xian Yu immediately ran over and said, "Big brother Long Fei." Huh. Long Fei got up from the ground. Lei Gang said excitedly, "The initial formation has been broken. Now it's the second formation." Long Fei looked at the blue flag in the distance and said, "It's too troublesome. I broke it in one go." Even if he were to die, he would be able to break the formation? Even if he were to die, he would be able to break the formation? Long Fei had seen many powerful formations before, but this was his first time encountering one of these. If it wasn't for Neza, he would have broken through the formation. All formations were supported by some kind of force. As long as one broke the point of support, the formation would naturally break. This was a tough method. Seeing the blue flag erected at the center of the city, Long Fei didn't want to waste too much effort. He directly said, "I am not here to cause trouble. Tell your sect master to come out and meet me or hand over the 7-flame flower, and I will leave immediately." "How dare you?" A loud shout came from the center of the city and said angrily, "How could a lowly person like you be able to see sect master? Who do you think you are? Do you think that the pavilion master of the Xian Pavilion is so powerful? In the eyes of our divine sect, your Xian Pavilion is nothing. Brat, don't think that just because you broke through a formation that you are so formidable. You are still far from it." He mocked in disdain. Long Fei said blandly, "I really am not here to cause trouble, but if you say so, then if Lousy doesn't do something, Lousy will let you down. Are you F*King selling?" Neza attack. The idea moved. In the distance, a miserable scream could be heard. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing God Pixian Elder. Ah! Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing God Pixian Elder. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing God Pixian Elder. The system kept beeping. 7 consecutive sounds. The 8 stunts array. Each wave was guarded by an elder. One after another 7 elders died, while miserable screams continuously rose up from the city without even knowing how they died. Moreover, he didn't even know how to defend against it. They had no idea where Neza appeared from, nor did they know how Neza did it. By the time they could react, they were already dead. Long Fei said lightly, "It's all because of you. You're the last one left. Now can you speak properly? I hate killing people the most. Come out, we'll have a good talk." The level of these elders was not as high as his, so he naturally had no interest in killing them. The system's drop rate was also low. regarding this matter where he failed to reap any rewards. Long Fei was truly too lazy to move. The elder was instantly struck dumb. You, just who are you? He was scared silly. The faces of Lei Gang, Xian Hu, and the others who were beside Long Fei were also filled with shock, as they did not know how these elders had died. Long Fei said in a bland voice, "I am just an unremarkable nobody. I'm willing to bet that Brat will immediately die at the hands of the Divine Master of Wu's Peak. A Divine Master of Wu's Peak is the peak realm of the profound king, an invincible existence under the realm of gods." That's right. Other than the Divine Master of Wu's Peak, there are 3,000 Divine Martial disciples. I do not believe that anyone can pass through. There was a flurry of discussion in the hall. He was filled with confidence. The Divine Sect was unrivaled in the world, and the Divine Wu's Peak had the most elite disciples of the Divine Sect, the strongest existence among the Master of Wu's Peak S of the God Realm. No matter how strong Long Fei was, it was impossible for him to win. With his 8 stunts array broken, Yi Wuqian was extremely shocked in his heart. At the same time, he was also increasingly curious about what kind of person could break such a powerful formation. However, he was also extremely confident in the Divine Master of Wu's Peak. Even if he wasn't his match, he could still hold Long Fei for a few days and nights. However, right at this moment, an elder ran in anxiously and said, "Sect Master, the peak owner of the Divine Wu's Peak has died in battle." Walala! A voice rang out. They were all shocked and dumbfounded. At first, he was just bragging, but now, they died in the blink of an eye. The Master of Wu's Peak was awesome to the point that he couldn't even last a minute. Even the 8 stunts array and Divine Wu's Peak were unable to stop Long Fei. In his heart, he knew that there was no one else in the Divine Sect who could stop him. Immediately, Yi Wuqian said in a heavy voice, "Summon all the elders and have him come to the Divine Sect." Xian, who also slowly walked over, looked at the sunset and coldly said, "Time can stop, but the human heart cannot." Lei Gang said indifferently, "Young Master, the Divine Sect's main hall is above us." "Yes." Long Fei walked into the pavilion, walked between the two of them, and held their small waist with both hands as he said indifferently, "Time cannot stop, and people's hearts will change as well. The sea will wither, and the rocks will rot, but my heart will not change. When I'm done, I'll definitely come back. I swear to God." Long Fei said seriously. Profound Jade turned her face to look at Long Fei and asked, "Big brother Long Fei, is it true?" Xian, who coldly snorted and said, "Don't ever believe a man's words." Long Fei said, "You don't believe me?" He hugged Xian Hu tightly and leaned half of Xian Hu's body into his embrace. Then Long Fei fiercely kissed him. He frantically demanded it. It crazily crushed everything in its path. It was incomparably domineering, suffocating. After a long time, Long Fei said, "Do you believe me now?" Xian Hu panted heavily, his chest rising and falling as he said, "I don't believe it." He was still very stubborn. Long Fei said, "You will believe it." Xian Yu said, "Big brother Long Fei, can you bring us along?" "Huh. With you." Long Fei's heart trembled. "Can I?" The dimension door would only open for her, but can you bring people back to the Hall of Eternal Life? Just as Long Fei was thinking about this, a Divine Sect elder standing in the pavilion fumed and said, "Brat, are you King coming or not? You came to the Divine Sect to talk about love?" He was being looked down upon. He carefully took a step forward and gathered his strength in his heart, maintaining a position that would allow Long Fei to block all attacks. With a soft voice, he said, "Young Master, this is an elder of Sky King's Peak, who is in closed-door training." "Humph!" the elder coldly snorted, "Traitor!" He did not spare Lei Gang another glance, and instead looked at him once more, and said, "Brat, hurry up and send yourself to your death." Long Fei held onto a beauty with one hand and turned around as he smiled lightly. "The scenery here is good, so it's very suitable for us to talk about love." The elder angrily rebuked, "What do you take the divine sect as?" Long Fei said, "Is this the place where I talk about love? What's wrong? You can't." His tone was extremely arrogant, just as he was about to attack Long Fei. At this moment, a voice came from afar and said, "Pavilion Master likes to chat about love here, so of course it's fine. But the scenery is even better. Why don't you come up and take a look?" Lei Gang's gaze tightened, and his body collapsed even more tightly as he said, "Young Master, Divine Sect Master, Yi Wuqian." The moment he appeared, Long Fei immediately felt a unique aura. This was the only powerhouse in the world with Holy Realm. His aura carried a strong sense of oppression, and even if he did not release that kind of pressure, it still carried that kind of intense pressure. It was terrifying. Xian Hu and Xian Yu's hearts were trembling. If not for Long Fei holding them, they would have probably knelt down unsteadily. Long Fei also felt the pressure of the Holy Realm, but the suppressive power of a transcendent divine body was unable to crush him. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Sect Master Yi." Yi Wuqian also smiled faintly and said, "Pavilion Master Long." At this moment, many elders appeared one after another beside Yi Wuqian. All of them were in the realm of the profound king, and many of them were elders who had lived for a few hundred years. There were many powerhouse in the profound King Peak realm. Cold sweat trickled down Lei Gang's forehead. He never thought that so many closed-door elders would have already come out. Long Fei laughed. "What a big battle formation. Is it to welcome me?" Yi Wuqian said, "Since Xian Pavilion's new grand court has come to my divine sect, of course I have to welcome them properly, or else how would I be worthy of your status? Ha ha ha." After which, he let out a long laugh. Long Fei said, "Does your divine sect not have beauties? I prefer beauties to welcome me. All of them are old men. Is the divine sect a Buddhist temple? How boring." An old man shouted angrily, "Brat, what are you doing in the divine sect?" "You dog, you killed the vice sect master, the divine formationate extreme elder, and the divine master of Wu's Peak. Do you think you can still escape today? Is the Xian Pavilion considered a bird? Compared to my divine sect, Xian Pavilion is not even an ant." A few of the elders with fiery temper spoke up. Long Fei picked his ears and said, "Your mouth is so stinky. Did you eat *T at noon?" As soon as he finished, a red-haired old man stared with his eyes as wide as a lantern and said heavily, "You're courting death." Boom! The aura of a peak profound king instantly ignited. The flames moved as he directly pounced towards Long Fei. Rumble! Boom! The 100-meter radius was filled with a blazing chi. The old man suddenly disappeared, and in the next moment, he was right in front of Long Fei. Lei Gang's pupils tightened, and he moved. "Young master, be careful." Long Fei's hands suddenly loosened, his body fiercely straightened, and directly used his own body to force his way up. With a sneer, he coldly said, "See who's courting death." Boom! The two palms collided with Long Fei's chest like the same flames that could topple mountains and overturn the seas. His chest was burning. The clothes were charred black. However, at the same time, the flames on his palms seemed to have been doused by water, extinguishing the flames in an instant. The old man's body started to tremble uncontrollably. Her body was like an eggplant frozen in ice, lying down on the ground, slowly kneeling in front of Long Fei. All of his profound chi was drained. He did not even have the strength to speak, and only had eyes that were filled with anger staring straight at Long Fei. Long Fei kicked over and stepped on it. Who wants to die? I'm going to ask who wants to die. Boom! With a stomp on the elder's body, his gaze swept across the place, causing Long Fei's expression to change. He smiled lightly and said, "Sect Master Yi, your people are really disobedient." The entire hall was silent. Yi Wuqian's eyes revealed a sinister look, his fists clenched tightly in his sleeves. The surrounding elders looked at the elders at Long Fei's feet and could not say a single word. At the beginning, they did not believe that Long Fei possessed such power, but just a moment ago, I saw it with my own eyes. Their hearts sank, and fear could be seen in their eyes. Yi Wuqian said with a heavy tone, and words that seemed to burst with flames, "Pavilion Master Long, this is the divine sect." Long Fei replied, "I know, but... So what if they are? Is the divine sect really that strong? Is the divine sect that powerful? Is the divine sect really that great? Can the celestial sect scold people?" It was incomparably domineering. With that, Long Fei laughed. "The divine sect is only SOSO. The powerhouse should have the attitude of a powerhouse." The powerhouse was still pretending to be weak and still wanted to crash into idiots. What was the meaning of that? The reason for becoming strong was to crush them. It was all for the sake of acting cool. Otherwise, what was the point in getting stronger? Long Fei was not the type of person where powerhouse still pretended to be weak. Even if he was stronger, he would at least pretend to be stronger than others. Yi Wuqian's face turned ugly. Not only him, even all the elders of the divine sect had ugly expressions on their faces. All of them stared at Long Fei, wishing that they could tear him to shreds. Yi Wuqian suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "Pavilion Master Long, you killed my vice sect master, 8 Jew clan elder, and so many disciples of the divine Wu's Peak. And now you also killed my esteemed elders and so many people. I want to know why you have come." Long Fei said, "Seven Flame Flower, you knew about it since a long time ago. The thing that I hate to do the most is kill people. I didn't think that I would actually kill so many people from the divine sect. Hand over the 7 Flame Flower, and I will leave immediately. You'll be a grandson if you stay just a second longer." "How is it?" Long Fei looked at Yi Wuqian. He was not sure if Yi Wuqian had any 7 Flame Flower on him either. If he said he didn't, then he would have to personally blow it out. The killing and upgrading system's drop rate was extremely low, but he still had to give it a try. Yi Wuqian did not say that he did not have a 7 Flame Flower, but asked, "I would like to know why you are looking for one. There must be a reason, right?" Long Fei said, "There's really no reason. If you really want a reason, it means that you can fly me. Sect leader Yi, hand it over. Otherwise, I'm going to do something I hate very much." Yi Wuqian's eyes turned sinister as he asked, "What is it?" Long Fei casually said, "Killed people." It was very easy, very casual. It was very easy, very casual. "If you don't hand it over, then I'm going to kill you." How arrogant! No one had ever dared to be so arrogant in the divine sect. In this world, there was only Long Fei who could kill in front of all the powerhouse-s of the divine sect. Not only did he kill them, he had also crushed the entire divine sect. You don't like it? He was in a bad mood and wanted to show his prowess. No one dared to come out, and even Yi Wuqian did not dare to easily fight. He still did not know the depth of Long Fei's cultivation and did not know the limits of his limits. Our divine sect doesn't have anything that you want. There are no 7 Flame Flower at all. Exactly. You must be mistaken. What is a 7 Flame Flower? I've never heard of it. You're here to cause trouble. Even if we have 7 Flame Flower, On what basis do you think our divine sect should give it to you? Do you think you are? Many of the elders spoke in a heavy tone. Long Fei ignored him and continued to look at Yi Wuqian. Yi Wuqian's expression told him that the rumors were true. The divine sect really had 7 flame flowers. The mission given by the Hall Master of the Hall of Eternal Life was not fake. Letting him find the 7 flame flower meant that there must be a 7 flame flower in this world. Otherwise, he would have already become the peak powerhouse of this world. It stopped for a moment. Yi Wuqian said solemnly, "I do indeed have what you want here." As soon as he finished, everyone looked at Yi Wuqian. Long Fei was overjoyed. "I'm going to finish the mission." Xianhu's gaze tensed up. The profound jade tightly held onto Long Fei's arm. "Sect Master, is there really a 7 flame flower? What exactly does the 7 flame flower look like? What is a 7 flame flower? How come I've never heard of it?" The faces of the 3 elders who knew about the 7 flame flower also darkened. They didn't know why Yi Wuqian had said those words, but if he didn't say them, Long Fei definitely wouldn't be able to find them. They didn't know what Yi Wuqian wanted to do. Yi Wuqian said faintly, "I am sorry, elders. I was the one who had been deceiving everyone, and a few years ago I had coincidentally entered the mysterious secret world. The thing I brought back from the secret world should have been the 7 flame flower. Only, I never thought that 7 flame flower would actually make so many clan elders and disciples die. It's all my fault. Pavilion Master Long, since you want the 7 flame flower, I'll give it to you. You can't kill anyone from the divine sect anymore." Yi Wuqian revealed a sorrowful expression. Long Fei replied, "Of course. As I said, the thing I hate the most is killing people. As long as you hand over the 7 flame flower, I will not kill anyone." Right now, the only person that Long Fei wanted to kill in this world was Yi Wuqian. The lava tree had 7 branches, and each stalk had a flower with a single petal. Flowers like fire. It grew above the flames. Call it 7 flame flower. Each piece of power was different. Heavens! Is there really such a beautiful object in this world? Isn't this too beautiful? What the hell is this? I've never seen anything like it. It's too good to watch. All of them were so shocked that their mouths gaped wide open as they looked up. Neza sent a mental message. "Daddy, this flower has an extremely powerful pure power. Be careful." Pure power? Long Fei was shocked. Yi Wuqian reminded again. "Don't go near. This flower is extremely dangerous." But before he could finish his sentence, an elder suddenly stepped in. Whang! Their bodies were destroyed. Not even a speck of ashes remained. Everyone was startled. They all hurriedly retreated. Yi Wuqian said heavily, "Don't go near." His eyes turned sinister as he looked at Long Fei. "This is the 7 flame flower. If you want it, go in and get it." Xianhu immediately grabbed Long Fei and said, "You can't go in." Xianyu added, "It's too dangerous. That person just now couldn't even hold on for a second. He didn't even leave behind any ashes. We can't go in." Yi Wuqian disdainfully said, "Pavilion Master Long, the thing is right here. If you have the ability, go and take it." "Big brother Long Fei, he wants to provoke you. Please don't go in. It was too dangerous. If you go in, you die." However, Long Fei's mouth curved upwards and smiled. "I am just not angered by others. I can't enter. I had to go in and take a look." Finished. Long Fei took a step forward. Yi Wuqian revealed a cold smile. "Prepare to go to hell." The power of extermination can exterminate any fleshly body. Why? Yi Wuqian looked at the brown-colored beast scales on Long Fei's feet. What kind of body is this? He had never seen those beast scales before. Yi Wuqian naturally did not know that Long Fei's fused physical body was that of a body of Taoti. Seeing Long Fei consecutively take 5 steps, he couldn't help but become worried. If Long Fei obtained the 7-flame flower, Yi Wuqian's heart went cold. Absolutely not. The corner of his eyes locked onto Xian Hu and Xian Yu. His eyes moved slightly. The 2 elders nodded to themselves as they quietly moved behind Xian Hu and Xian Yu. But suddenly, when Long Fei was about to take his 5th step, he suddenly stopped. Everyone was shocked. Why isn't he moving? My physical body can't take it anymore, right? Brat, why aren't you leaving? Keep walking. What are you stopping for? Exactly. Go on, it's only the 5th step. What are you stopping for? Everyone was puzzled. Yi Wuqian did not understand why Long Fei would suddenly stop. Logically speaking, he could only walk 5 steps, but he could always walk. Xian Yu said worriedly, Big brother Long Fei, come back. We don't need any 7-flame flower, okay? Xian, who also hoped that Long Fei would return. However, Long Fei did not move and did not take his 6th step because at this time, the mini black holes had already finished filling up. Damn, it's only been 5 steps, and its anger value is already full. When the anger value is full, the mini black holes will stop spinning and absorb it. If he didn't release it, his body might not be able to withstand the 6th step. The reason why Long Fei could walk 5 steps was not because his body was strong, but because the mini black holes could absorb it. Now that the mini black holes stopped its circulation, Long Fei had to stop. I have to burst out this anger value and let the Taoqia's absorption black hole resume its circulation. Otherwise, it really might turn into dust from my stomp. Long Fei muttered to himself. At this moment, Brat, why are you not moving? Are you afraid? An elder mocked. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. Are you mocking me? The elder disdainfully replied. I'll just laugh at you. Are you sure you don't dare to continue walking forward? Laugh at you? Boom. Long Fei flipped his right palm, Buddha palm technique. His rage burst forth, and he infused it all into his body. He struck out with his palm. Rumble! 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 The void exploded, and a flaming palm slammed onto the elder's body. Immediately, that elder was blasted into pieces, exploding into powder. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing sect elders. Release the anger value. The mini black holes returned to normal. Long Fei said in a disdainful voice, Laugh at you? You think you're worthy? The faces of the elders of the divine sect turned ugly. Hiss! Hiss! Long Fei sucked in a cold breath of air as his entire body trembled. Fuck you! Seeing his own fingers melting, the pain was unbearable even for body of Taoti. Big brother Long Fei. Young master. Dragon. In regards to the profound jade, Xian Hu suddenly took a step forward. Lei Gang also shouted. Long Fei said solemnly, Don't come over. Hiss, hiss. Long Fei panted heavily as he climbed up another tree branch. The higher he climbed, the more liquid flowed out from the surface of his body. Not to mention crawling, it hurt just looking at it. Yi Wuqian revealed a cold smile. Let's see how long you can hold out for. Burn him to death. Burn him to death. Burn him to death. Many people were screaming in their hearts. Every single elder of the divine sect couldn't wait for Long Fei to be immediately burnt to ashes. Long Fei's body also continued to melt. No, big brother Long Fei, don't. Xian Yu shouted. Xian, who was incomparably heartless, also burst into tears. On the second petal, Long Fei once again fiercely inserted his hand and dug it out from the flames. Ah! Long Face screamed in pain as he spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body trembled crazily. The brown scales were melting. Daddy, you can't go up anymore. Your body is still unable to withstand the strength of the pure power. You won't be able to take it. Daddy, hurry up and come down. Neza also kept on crying. He understood what pure power was. This power was too strong. This was only the second petal. There were still 5 more petals left, and Long Fei's body would all be melted. Long Fei did not speak, and crawled towards the 3rd petal. He had to hold back. He had to endure it. He didn't know why the eternal coffin had brought him to another world, but he knew that there had to be a reason behind it. No matter where he was, he couldn't give up. He couldn't give up the thought of becoming strong. If he gave up, he would lose everything. Everything in the universal realm. He could not take revenge for the hatred of the dragon race, for the hatred of his father, and for the hatred of his mother, his brother, his woman. Everything he had would be lost because of his loss of will. He could not give up. Thus, no matter what happened to Long Fei, even if he had to endure more pain, he would persevere. Even if he couldn't endure it, he would grit his teeth and persevere forward. Wait for me. Lear, Lan Mei, Queen, Yi Yurong, and those women who are waiting for my return. Xiao Bai, Ice and Fire, King Kong, those brothers who are waiting for me. Wait for my return. Ah! Long Fei let out a roar, endured the pain, and dug out the 3rd petal. His right palm was gone. It had been melted into a lump by the melting flames. He couldn't help but use his hands. Long Fei's eyes tensed up, and once again crawled towards a higher place. The higher the level, the stronger the pure power. Not to mention standing. He didn't even have a foot left, only the 7-flame flower in his embrace and his already melting head. Yi Wuqian condescendingly stood in front of Long Fei, his eyes full of contempt, and said coldly, "Pavilion Master Long, you can say it now, right? Xian, who when Xian you wanted to rush out." But, boom, boom. It was instantly blocked by 2 elders, and they were also restrained. Long Fei squinted and said indifferently, "Don't you two come over here." Long Fei raised his eyes, looked at Yi Wuqian, and said, "Let them go first." Yi Wuqian's eyes became angry, and he stomped his foot on Long Fei's head as he shouted angrily, "Do you still have the qualifications to negotiate with me?" He exerted force with his feet. "Speak. What is the power of the 7-flame flower? How should I use it?" Yi Wuqian growled. He exerted even more force with his feet. Long Fei's eyes were tightly shut as his health point swiftly decreased. He was on the verge of collapsing. Yi Wuqian also roared, "Tell me." Boom! The pressure of the holy realm smashed down heavily. Long Fei's body looked like it was about to explode. His health point was already about to collapse. If he did not level up soon, he would definitely not be able to live. At this moment, Long Fei said heavily, "Neza, attack! Neza, attack! Neza, attack!" Long Fei said. In the dark, Neza was already preparing. He suddenly rushed out, the spear in his hands moved, and directly thrust towards Yi Wuqian's throat. Yi Wuqian was the Holy Realm, the only powerhouse in this world with a Holy Realm. The moment Neza's aura faintly moved, Yi Wuqian also felt his aura fluctuate. His reaction was also a godlike one. His body suddenly shrunk, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. His aura suddenly stirred and surged out. Rumble! 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 With his body as the center, a couple of strong and fierce forces burst out, wanting to blast Neza flying out. But Neza's strength exceeded Yi Wuqian's imagination. The godlike power that he released didn't hinder Neza at all. The red spear broke. directly pointing at Yi Wuqian's throat. Thus, Neza's figure also appeared. Yi Wuqian looked at the child in front of him, and his pupils contracted. He flipped his right palm and struck it forward, heavenly demon palm. Waves of black smoke surged out, wanting to force Neza to retreat. But Neza completely ignored him and angrily said, "Bullying my father? I'll take your life." His body jolted. Hong Ying's long spear thrust instantly. Bam! Crack! The tip of the spear pierced through his throat. Yi Wuqian's pupils constricted all of a sudden, and his pupils became as sharp as needles. Power frantically surged out from his entire body as he used one hand to cover the long spear, while he coughed out fresh blood from his mouth. But even so, Yi Wuqian did not panic. For example, the divine realm was called the Holy Realm because they possessed the power and calmness of a god. Tyrant beast, open, roar. Yi Wuqian released a roar from his throat. His body also underwent a drastic change. His entire body was covered in a thick beast armor, as though it was made of fine steel. He locked the spear. Yi Wuqian's body turned into a ferocious beast. His body was at the peak of the profound realm. Two beast eyes stared at Neza. Yi Wuqian heavily shouted, "Lie down!" The beast moved its power. A huge beast's paw struck at Neza. Yi Wuqian's sudden change caused Neza to tremble slightly, but he wiped the bridge of his nose and grinned. "You still dare to jump? Break the red tassel." The long spear left his hand. The handle of the spear suddenly changed. Bam! The tip of the spear that was stabbed into Yi Wuqian's body suddenly exploded. Like a hedgehog, the steel needle was pierced from inside to outside. Yi Wuqian's body suddenly sank. The steel needles at his throat pierced forward, causing blood to spurt out, the immense power also quickly dissipating. The voices in his throat began to tremble. "Master! Master! Master!" Ah! Two elders at the peak of the Xian King's rank rushed forward. The two of them had their bags on their left and right as they attacked Neza. Neza didn't even look at him. He just said indifferently, "Scram." According to his calculations, Yi Wuqian should have been killed by Neza. He obtained Yi Wuqian's rank, which is to level up and recover his condition. According to his calculations, Yi Wuqian should have been killed by Neza. He obtained Yi Wuqian's rank, which is to level up and recover his condition. His melted hands and feet could be recovered. It was perfect. It could also be considered as grabbing onto the part of the system that was known as the BUG. But Long Fei had underestimated the might of the super treasure that had existed for 10,000 years, the ancient Buddha. Yi Wuqian was dead. Long Fei moved his idea. Capture. In an instant, Long Fei's leveling up, stepping into the holy realm, caused all sorts of attributes to instantly recover. However, the recovery of his physical body was not as fast as the recovery of his attributes. Little by little, it felt like it was being remolded. Slow doesn't matter. It was fine if they could recover, but even these profound king stage elders could not harm them. The power of the 10,000-year-old Buddha did not disappear. Yi Wuqian was dead, and the energy from the ancient Buddha continued to crush down crazily, shaking all the elders away. At this moment, Long Fei's hands and feet had not finished reforming yet, so he had no way of dodging. Zhang Xian's heart tightened. Damn! Neza also shouted, "Daddy, Long Fei, fly, young master." At this moment, Xian Hu and Profound Jade also struggled out of his grasp and rushed towards Long Fei. Long Fei's body was fully recovered. He returned to his original appearance. However, in the blink of an eye, the power of the ancient Buddha was unleashed. Long Fei rolled his eyes and muttered, "Fuck, rumble." Rumble! Rumble! It completely suppressed them, and the power of the 10,000-year ancient Buddha burst out to the maximum, pressing heavily onto Long Fei's body. His mind, his sea of consciousness, even the body of Tauti began to tremble. The instant that Long Fei recovered, in between recovery and serious injury. Rumble! Long Fei's body fiercely smashed into the ground. The ancient Buddha exploded. Long Fei's body became the same lump of red as before, and then completely melted. Not dead. However, he did not have his own body. The secret room quietened down, and everyone stared at Long Fei, who flowed on the ground. Flames spouted out of the elder's eyes, and he shouted loudly, "Revenge the sect master! Revenge!" Reporting. Many elders rushed forward. Rather than say it was revenge, it would be better to call it taking revenge on the 7 flame flower that was flowing on Long Fei's body. In that instant, Long Fei quickly assembled the 7 flame flower together. Right now, the 7 flame flower on his body had assembled 7 petals to form a flower. Divine light shrouded the area. It was like a miracle. When the elders of the divine sect saw this, their hearts faintly trembled. They clearly knew in their hearts that this was a super treasure, the supreme super treasure. It was possible that he really did possess the strength to overturn the heavens. One by one, they charged forward. However, Neza was enraged. Scram! He roared. All the divine sect elders were shaken to pieces by Neza's words. Blood sprayed wildly. The entire room became like a purgatory. Neza's body faintly trembled. He looked at Long Fei and said, "Daddy, Daddy!" Tears streamed down his face as he cried loudly. He was so panicked that he didn't know what to do anymore. He couldn't think of any way at the moment. Xianhu and Xianyu looked at the surrounding bloody scene and felt their stomachs churn. They simply could not hold back and vomited, their faces pale white. In that split second just now, a surge of power had deliberately avoided the 3 of them. Otherwise, they would have been like these divine sect elders. He quickly ran in front of Long Fei. Looking at Long Fei turn into a ball of liquid, there was nothing he could do. In Long Fei's mind, the system kept beeping. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing sect elders. Do you wish to absorb them? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing sect elders. Do you wish to absorb them? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing sect elders. Do you wish to absorb them? The system beeped out these notifications. But the highest level among these elders was only the peak realm of the profound king, which simply did not surpass Yi Wuqian's level. It was simply impossible to level up. If he couldn't level up, his body wouldn't be able to recover. There was no way at all. At this time, Long Fei was starting to miss the universal realm system. Neza must have had a lot of experience after killing so many people. Perhaps these experience points could help him level up. Seeing that Neza was crying so much, Long Fei felt that he was extremely tired, and his body could barely hold on. Neza had just released such a strong power, and had already used up all of his energy. Long Fei said, "Don't worry, I'm not dead yet, am I?" It turned into liquid. His body was also rapidly cooling down. As soon as it cooled down, his health point dropped a little. Long Fei thought, "Damn you, will I really die here?" Neza pleaded. "Daddy, there must be a way." "Speak. Tell me quickly." Xian Yu also said, "Big brother Long Fei, tell me, what can I do to save you?" Xian, who also cried madly as he looked at Long Fei. Long Fei laughed. "I'm fine, don't worry, even if I die, don't cry. I still have many things that I haven't completed in my life, but it's worth it, much more than my own world. Hee hee, if it was on Earth." Then he would only be a poor loser for the rest of his life. There was no hope in this life. However, in this alternate world, he had women, brothers, relatives, friends, had been at the pinnacle, had gone mad, and his life had been incomparably exciting. He was worth it. It was really worth it. He was just a little unwilling. He could not go back to the universal realm. He could not kill the Emperor Xian. But there was nothing he could do now. In this world, there was no one stronger than Yi Wuqian. Even if there was, he did not know which corner they were at. He did not believe in fate. But this might be fate. Neza was about to go berserk. He clenched his fists and tried his best to hold back his tears, but she couldn't hold it in any longer, and her bean-sized tears continued to flow down her face. Don't cry. Keep going. You will become the strongest person in the universe. Long Fei looked at Neza. He really liked this strange son of his. Very strong, very fierce, almost omnipotent. Moreover, the most important thing was Neza's happiness for Long Fei. If he could, he really wanted to go back to the universal realm and have kids with those girls. In the past, he didn't want kids, but after he had Neza, he did. Neza stubbornly shook his head and said, "Daddy is the #1 person in the universe." Long Fei laughed and said, "Goodbye." His entire body cooled down. At this moment, squeak, a door suddenly appeared out of nowhere. However, Neza didn't give up. He was still using all sorts of powerful moves, all sorts of powerful forces. However, all sorts of attacks were useless against the middle-aged man. Not a single injury was inflicted. After a long time, Neza gasped from exhaustion. The middle-aged man said coldly, "Can we go in now?" That look, that tone, it was as if Neza was just a little kid making trouble. Although Neza was just a little kid, he was really unhappy. Neza didn't say anything. The middle-aged man lifted his right foot. Bang! Yi Zichen kicked Neza in. The middle-aged man looked at Long Fei, who was floating in midair, and pushed him into the dimension door with his hand. He did not go in immediately. Instead, he clasped his hands together, and streams of power burst forth from his body. Next, the world slowly returned to normal. The divine sect was also the divine sect. Yi Wuqian was still Yi Wuqian. The elders in the divine sect were still those elders. The Xian Pavilion S were still Xian Pavilion S, and the 9 Grand Court S were still the 9 Grand Court S. Not one by one. It was a reversal of time, back to a few years ago, before Yi Wuqian entered the special secret world. After doing all this, the middle-aged man stepped into the dimension door. In this world, 3 people were missing. The profound Jade, Xian Hu, and Lei Gang. Everything was still the same as before. Your body is too weak. Your body technique is too weak. Enter this plane. Without even giving Lei Gang time to react, he was immediately pushed into the shadows by the middle-aged man. Then a white light flashed. Lei Gang disappeared. Your talent is too bad. Your cultivation is too bad. And your looks aren't enough to bring down a country. Enter this plane. Boom. The Black Jade was also sent to another plane. Xian Hu's body slightly shrank as he said, "I'm not going anywhere." The middle-aged man didn't say anything and just pushed her into another space. Finally, Neza, the middle-aged man, looked at Neza and said, "No one is allowed to interfere with his training. You can't help him, and your own strength is also not strong enough." Neza stood up and said, "Can I ask you a question?" The middle-aged man withdrew his strength and said, "Ask." He was still very polite to Neza. Of course, it wasn't because Neza was strong enough. Beside him, Neza was like an ant. "Will my father die?" Neza asked. The middle-aged man said, "No way." The answer was very straightforward. Neza knelt down, kowtowed, and said heavily, "Thank you. I can go anywhere." The middle-aged man's expression was still cold. He pushed Neza into the darkness without any change due to Neza's kneeling. Buzz! A white light flashed, and Neza also disappeared. Only the middle-aged man and the young Taoist behind him remained in the hall. Young Taoist looked at Long Fei, looked at the lamp, and asked, "Master, will senior brother really not die?" Long Fei's consciousness was blurry. Long Fei's consciousness was blurry. In this blur, he had no idea what was going on outside. He could not feel any existence at all. He only felt that there was a light in the darkness. The flame was very small, and as time passed, the flame also became smaller. However, this process was very light. System. Long Fei felt as if he was in chaos. He wanted to summon the system. But the system seemed to have disappeared from his body. He couldn't sense it at all. The system interface did not pop up at all. What's going on? Has the system stopped operating? Holy shit, what the hell are they doing? System, who the hell designed this damn thing? Long Fei cursed, but the system was still in a world that he could not sense. Rather than saying that he could not sense it, it would be better to say that the system was temporarily shut down. Because Long Fei was at Hall of Eternal Life. There was a strange power here. The system closed off the moment Long Fei entered, leaving him completely out of control. Even in a certain world, the supervisor was secretly surprised for a moment. It's dark. How could this be? Is he dead? Impossible. It was clearly detected that there was a life throbbing. Why did it suddenly go black? The supervisor's forehead was locked, and he was constantly adjusting his position. He also wanted to activate the system. But it was the same. The screen in front of him was still black. The man behind him also frowned and said, "I would like to report this immediately. Keep an eye out." The supervisor nodded and said, "All right." He was very anxious. He thought to himself, "Brat, you can't fall at this place. You still have many tasks that you haven't completed. You know?" He was unceasingly adjusting it. He wanted to give the killing system more authority, but not at all. Not at all. The system inside Long Fei's soul was in a completely tight state and stopped operating. What should we do? I was worried to death. I said I couldn't use a system that hadn't been tested yet. Is there a problem now? The man's eyes were filled with worry. Half a moment later, when the man entered the room, his eyebrows tightened even more. He said, "The result is that if he can't wake up within 7 days, he will be deemed a failure. The system program will self-destruct and devour his soul." This is also the unique killing technique of killing and upgrading system. The supervisor was stunned and said, "How can this be? How can a failure be determined without knowing the reason? 7 days is too short." The man said, "I was the one who bought it 7 days ago. The higher-ups seem to be very unsatisfied with this killing and upgrading system, very unsatisfied with Long Fei, this host. With such a powerful system, they haven't done anything powerful yet. The results are disappointing. They intend to give up on the research and development of this system." Abandoning the system's update and research and development meant that the system wouldn't be perfect, which meant that the host of the system was in great potential danger. The killing system that the man mentioned just now had a self-destruct process. Once touched, even the deities wouldn't be able to save him. The supervisor was even more anxious. He looked at the black screen and said, "Long Fei, you can't fall down. You definitely can't. If you fall down, your legend won't be able to continue. Wake up quickly. Hurry up." The man patted the supervisor's shoulder and said, "I know you have feelings for a host, but They are just mice made by Xiao Bai, nothing more. In the end, he will still die. From the moment they were chosen, it was their fate. It's only a matter of time. In the sovereign realm, all the lower plane creatures are experimental subjects. We are all high-level beings. Don't get angry over these Xiao Bai rats. Now, it's unknown whether he's alive or dead. It's also good that he's dead. Our work can also end now. Don't blame yourself too much. We'll have a good rest for the next few days. The man left the room with a few words of consolation. The supervisor clenched his fists tightly as he stared at the black screen and muttered, "I will definitely save you. I definitely won't let you die so easily. I swear." In his heart, he worshipped Long Fei. He hoped that he would one day become Long Fei as well. He was as willing to take revenge as he was brothers like him and women that could topple empires. But he couldn't. But he did not want Long Fei to stop. If you can defy the heavens and change your fate, then so can I. The supervisor looked at the black screen and muttered, "I'm still waiting for the day to meet with you. I want to shock everyone. I'm going to make your name resound throughout the Paragon world." And then the supervisor picked up a black box and quickly left the room. A hall of eternal life. 7 days passed. The hall master had not returned. The flame above Long Fei's head became extremely weak and could be extinguished at any time. Young Taoist looked at the flames and used both hands to protect himself as he muttered, "Hold on a little longer. Hold on a little longer. Senior brother, you can't die. Master went to the Twilight Zone for you. You can't fall down at this time." Buzz. The flames were extinguished, leaving behind only a small spark. Young Taoist quickly plucked a piece of the 7-flame flower-esque petal and placed it in the lamp, causing the flames to burn again. It was also at this time. A strange sound came from the darkness. Bam! Young Taoist's eyes moved. Like an eagle's eye, the aura on his body also fluctuated, his 2 black eyes locking onto one another. Huff, huff. Walala! The sound of heavy breathing came slowly from the darkness. Supermonster, who was over 3 meters tall, with pitch-black muscles as though they were made of stone, walked out. With every step he took, a ball of black-colored flame rose from beneath his feet, causing the ground to ignite with black-colored flames. The young Taoist didn't fear him and protected Long Fei behind him. He said lightly, "You better leave now, otherwise you will die." A simple sentence. It did not look intimidating at all. Supermonster also did not leave a look of contempt appearing in his completely black eyes. How dare a mere 7 or 8-year-old child act so impudently in front of him? It was almost the same as courting death. Supermonster moved, the black flames diffused, and a powerful force pounced towards young Taoist crazily. Young Taoist snorted, "You're courting death." His 2 fingers moved. A red ray of light shot out from his fingertip. Bam! Supermonster's body was instantly sliced apart. His body exploded and dropped right in front of young Taoist. Young Taoist didn't even blink. This sort of thing happened very often. It was extremely normal. Clap, clap. Clap, clap. A black-robed man walked out and said with a smile, "The Hall of Eternal Life's immortal path is indeed different. It's really amazing." The center of young Taoist's brows tightened, and he gently took a step back, completely protecting Long Fei. A strange aura surged within Hall of Eternal Life. A strange aura surged within Hall of Eternal Life. In the darkness, a pair of dark green eyes opened. The sound of heavy breathing could be heard. However, these demon spirits were not much of a threat to the young Taoist, as the black-robed man in front of him was the greatest threat. He glanced at Long Fei from the corner of his eyes, and then Young Taoist's hands moved slightly, revealing a beautiful look just like an experienced martial arts master. He lightly said, "Cut the crap. Come." He was very worried. These guys all came from the dark area, which meant something might have happened to Master. He knew how strong his master was. Similarly, he also knew what kind of place the dark domain was. However, his mission was to protect Long Fei and not let him die. The black-robed man laughed coldly and said, "Do you think you can stop me?" Young Taoist said, "Even if you can't stop me, you would have to. Since you know that I am the immortal path, you should be clear about my strength." HNG, HNG, black-robed man sneered and said, "Don't waste your strength, just hand over the thing behind you, and I will spare your life." Young Taoist's pupils shrank. "I don't understand what you're saying." Black-robed man said, "Don't play dumb. Do you think I wouldn't know? Isn't that thing behind you the future hall master of yours? The hall master of the Hall of Eternal Life. Your Hall of Eternal Life's immortal monument has shattered. The inscriptions are chaotic. This is the sign that the eternal coffin that is floating in the wild universe has returned. The immortal monument are linked to the dark area. Don't you think that the dark region will be aware of what is happening here? Young Taoist, hand him over, and you won't have anything to do with this place. I can't be bothered with wasting my energy, and it will also benefit you." Black-robed man couldn't help but mock his master, who was mocking him. Very contemptuous. The space between young Taoist's eyebrows tightened. He did not know any of this. Hearing what black-robed man had said, and taking a glance at the immortal monument, he said in his heart, "No wonder Master wanted senior brother to complete that kind of impossible mission, so it's just to gain experience. Is the senior brother the future eternal lord?" Wow! Young Taoist laughed out loud in excitement. Then, young Taoist looked at black-robed man and said, "If it's like you said, then I definitely won't hand over senior brother to you." The black-robed man's eyes turned sinister as he said gloomily, "Little fellow, I am in a good mood today. Don't refuse a toast only to be punished. Wait for me to make a move. You will not have a good ending." Young Taoist was not afraid. With a wave of his hand, he shouted towards black-robed man, "Come." At first, he was protecting the senior brother. But now, what he was protecting was not the senior brother, but the future eternal lord, which was even more different. The black-robed man's pupils contracted. His eyes narrowed slightly and said with a heavy voice, "You're courting death." Boom! His figure turned into a cloud of black fog and disappeared. In the next moment, he appeared in front of young Taoist, looked down from above, and struck him heavily on the head with his palm. The young Taoist reacted surprisingly fast. The moment the black-robed man disappeared, his figure also turned into many thin lines. Black-robed man's palm fell, hitting empty air. Raising his eyes, he turned his body to the side and shot 6 beams of red light at him. Black-robed man's eyes turned cold, and he waved his sleeves fiercely. Boom, boom, boom. His sleeve blocked all 6 beams of red light. Young Taoist was slightly shocked as he asked, "The wall of the dark region?" Black-robed man laughed. "Not bad. You still have some knowledge. You actually know about the wall of the dark region. It seems like your useless master has taught you some things." "You're the trash." Young Taoist was furious. All the energy in his body surged. He clasped his hands together, and a super red light shot out, just like a laser beam. The black-robed man sneered and said, "Another fellow without brains. Since you know that I have the dark domain's wall in my possession, is this kind of power of yours still useful?" The sleeves once again blocked the young Taoist's attack. It couldn't hurt him at all. However, the young Taoist did not stop there. The super red light suddenly turned into a rope and tied the black-robed man up. His body fell down. They dragged Long Fei's body and fiercely flew away. Boom, With an explosive sound, the Black Robe Man's bindings were broken. Black Robe Man was enraged. Die! Boom! As his body scattered, the Hall of Eternal Life became dimmer. Young Taoist's pair of eyes continued to move, and from his long sleeves, one hand continued to form seals. He was mumbling something in his heart, and the aura being emitted from his body started to become extremely different. Boom! Suddenly, a mass of black fog rolled down. Black Robe Man's body suddenly appeared, his two hands striking towards young Taoist's temples. Young Taoist's eyes darkened. Just as his palms were about to land on his temples, he pointed his finger out from his sleeves. Black Robe Man laughed disdainfully. It's useless. This kind of power from you can't even hurt a single hair on my head. However, before he finished speaking, young Taoist extended his other hand. An array mark appeared on his palm. The seal was a floating hexagram. It was like a small-scale formation. At this moment, Black Robe Man's pupils suddenly shrank. He retracted both his palms and could not kill young Taoist. He could only think of one word: flee. But too slow. He clasped his hands together, and the red light passed through the seal. Roar! His time is up. His time is up. You can't change anything. Time to end it. The man urged her and said, I know that you are unwilling, but this is your life, his life, and ours. The supervisor did not stop debugging and continued to type on the keyboard. For the past 7 days, he didn't take a break. He continued to decipher and improve the program. The supervisor said, he never accepts fate. Although I accept my fate, this time I want to refuse to accept my fate for him. Crackle! The rhythm of the keyboard was like that of a pianist, his 10 fingers crazily tapping on the keyboard. The man stared at the supervisor, at the various codes he entered. Suddenly, he frowned, grabbed hold of the supervisor, and said with a deep voice, What do you want to do? Are you tired of living? The supervisor did not stop and said, Supervisor, I do not want to give up, nor does he want to give up. He can change the world. He can really... The man said heavily, I now order you to stop immediately. Immediately. He shouted out harshly. The supervisor didn't say anything, but said quickly, Supervisor, you don't want his legend to end here. Do you? Give him a little more time. I beg of you. The man's pupils shrank. I told you to stop. His voice was filled with rage. The supervisor ignored him as his fingers moved even faster. The man was thoroughly enraged. He grabbed the overseer's shoulder and yanked. Bam! The supervisor fell to the ground. The man immediately walked to the computer and looked at the code that was running on its own. His eyes narrowed as he looked at the supervisor who had fallen to the ground and said, Stop immediately. The supervisor said with a smile, We can't stop. The man said, Do you know what you're doing? If the higher-ups were to find out, do you think you would be able to survive? There is still a chance to make amends, but we must stop now. Stop. I will pretend that none of this has happened. Every system is strictly controlled. Every host is supervised by a supervisor. Long Fei fainted, and the system shut him down. His superior was very dissatisfied with him, so he wanted to kill him. This is an order. The supervisor could only execute the command, but he did not execute the command to let Long Fei destroy himself. Instead, he tampered with the program, allowing the system in Long Fei's body to completely operate automatically. 7 days. For a full 7 days, he spent all the knowledge he had learned in his life to develop a set of program that could run on its own, a program that possessed spiritual awareness. He had been silently studying this procedure. This program with spiritual sense was prohibited here. Once it was developed, this technological plane would immediately be thrown into chaos and could even be destroyed as a result. However, for Long Fei, for the sake of the legend. He didn't have to worry so much. He was like a fanatic. The man entered his permission to stop the program, but it didn't work. The code was still being built. Unable to stop, the man picked up the supervisor and said, "If you want to die, then go and die. Don't pull me in. I don't want to be implanted into the system. I don't want to become a mouse, and I don't want to become the experimental subject of those people. You better stop now, or else I'll kill you right now." The supervisor said, "Supervisor, it won't be long before he wakes up. When the time comes, you can restart the system above, and without any hindrances, you and I will be fine. If you kill me, the higher-ups will definitely find out. When they find out that the system in his body had changed, you still won't be able to escape the fate of becoming Xiao Bai's mouse." He didn't want to, but if he didn't, they would all die. Moreover, he still did not know what kind of impact the new system would have on Long Fei. He wanted to know. He wanted to see the legend continue. Thus, he had to live. The man's pupils shrank. "Are you threatening me?" The supervisor said, "No, I'm just analyzing it for you. Now that the new code has been generated, his system will mutate shortly, so no one will know about the program I designed. As long as you don't say anything, no one above will know about it. When we get to this supreme plane, we will become the most powerful people in the world. One remembrance of heaven, one remembrance of hell. Chief, think carefully." The supervisor said, "I have absolute confidence in him. I believe that he will definitely come here one day." The man's anger was slowly suppressed. He put down the supervisor and said in a low voice, "I will deal with the report, but it was unsuccessful due to the bug. I don't know when the host will wake up or when the system will activate. But you'd better remember it. If anything happens, the first one to die will be you." Humph! The man let out a loud humph and slammed the door as he walked out. Bam! The door slammed shut. The supervisor sat down on a chair and heavily breathed out, I hope it's still urgent." His 10 fingers danced as he once again quickly started beating them. "I want to perfect this killing and upgrading system to perfection. I want him to have his own process of restoration. I want to create the perfect game system. I want to make you heaven," the supervisor said excitedly. His eyes were feverish and his blood was boiling. A hall of eternal life. Corpses were strewn all over the place. Young Taoist continued to kill the demons' corpses all over the place. When young Taoist saw that the flames on Long Fei's body weakened once again, his heart tightened. He plucked out a piece of the 7-flame flower-s petal and placed it on the lamp wick once again. The flames reignited. Roar! A ferocious super demon pounced over. Young Taoist's body blurred and landed behind the demon, grabbing his tail and smashing it. "The Tao of Immortality," White King said indifferently. "The Tao of Immortality," White King said indifferently. His figure moved. He immediately appeared in front of young Taoist. His toes lightly touched the ground, and ripples continuously flashed under his feet. The light white ripples made him seem like a glowing weapon. If it was Long Fei who saw it, he would definitely be excited, because this was a super boss. Young Taoist's pupils tightened. "How is my master?" White King smiled faintly and said, "Your master wants the heart of darkness. You should also know that there is only one heart of darkness in the entire dark realm. You should also know the location of the heart of darkness very well." So, heart of darkness, young Taoist's eyes darkened. Then is master undergoing his tribulation now? White King laughed. "I don't know about that. Probably dead. Maybe he's half dead now. In short, he probably won't be able to come back. Even if we bring the heart of darkness back, it's useless because this place is about to turn into nothingness." White King said lightly. His eyes were full of contempt. Young Taoist moved back slightly and said indifferently, "Bring it on." His voice was clearly lacking in confidence. One of the three kings of the dark domain, White King of Dark Area. His cultivation was at an immeasurable level. You want to defeat him? Only his master was more or less the same. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to win at all. But young Taoist still had to fight. If he fell, senior brother would definitely die, and no matter what, he couldn't fall. White King laughed. "Ha ha ha. You are also a unique existence in the wild universe. How about you become my caretaker? Enter my dark domain, and I can spare your life and bestow upon you a strength of 3,000. White King looked at young Taoist. He had taken a liking to this young Taoist, not only because of his beauty, but also because of his unique talent. Young Taoist said, "No need, you should just come at me." White King said, "Just to protect him." How could someone who even he needed to protect himself possibly become the Hall Master of the Hall of Eternal Life? The Hall of Eternal Life stands proudly in the wild universe. Why would the Eternal Coffin choose such a person? It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. You still have time to think about it. White King was not anxious at all. He looked at everything in the Hall of Eternal Life, at the immortal monument that had cracks on it, and at the chaotic inscription. He also slightly glanced at Long Fei, who was behind young Taoist. The corners of his mouth curled into a sneer. The young Taoist did not hesitate and did not even think about it, and said, "There is no need to consider. I must protect the senior brother. Regardless of whether or not he is the future eternal lord, I must protect him." "All right." White King retreated, landing 3 meters away. His feet still touching the ground. Looking at the young Taoist below the immortal monument, he said indifferently, "Then I'll be making my move." Before he could finish, the silhouette disappeared. Bam! A white light flashed, and a deep white palm print appeared on young Taoist's chest. He retreated explosively and struck onto a stone pillar. Her tender cheeks turned pale. In an instant, young Taoist stood up. His body was unsteady. At this moment, White King stood in front of the lamp and looked at the blurry Long Fei. "You haven't died even after turning into this. Don't touch senior brother." The young Taoist was furious. He moved his body and rushed out with all his might. White King didn't even look at young Taoist. In the instant that he charged forward, he waved his right hand and released a huge amount of energy. Bam! Xiao Bai was sent flying again. Uffed! Another mouthful of blood sprayed out. White King continued to stare at Long Fei and said, "I really didn't see anything special about him. I really didn't see anything worthy of him becoming the Eternal Lord. Not qualified." These 3 words were filled with rage. As soon as he finished, the White King's eyes turned sinister as he slammed his palm down. Young Taoist's pupils contracted as a strange light flashed in his eyes. The aura exuded from his body became extremely terrifying as he formed a seal with his hands and rapidly reversed. Rumble! The White King slammed his palm down. Long Fei's body began to disintegrate. At this moment, White King raised his eyes slightly. Reversal of time? He turned his head and looked at young Taoist. Buzz. Bang, bang, bang. A ferocious super demon king walked out from the darkness, blood dripping from his teeth as he stared at young Taoist. It was as if he had started all of this from the beginning. White King of Dark Area stood on the supreme demon king's back and said indifferently, "You actually grasp the power to reverse the flow of time, but you are still nearly on fire. True reversal of time can erase memories, just like your master, who was able to easily erase the memories in my mind originally. I am the great senior brother of the Hall of Eternal Life, and I am the inheritor of the Eternal Lord. What a pity, what a pity. The White King of Dark Area revealed a cruel sneer. Since I can't get it, then I shall destroy everything and make sure that the words eternal life no longer exists in this wild universe. Ah! Rumble! The power of the White King exploded forth, causing space to distort and spin non-stop. Destroy them all. Ha ha ha. The Hall of Eternal Life continued to explode, and the great hall shook. They could not withstand the power of the White King's body, and the super demons in the darkness were also sucked in. Instantly, he would be minced into dust. White King's expression was sinister as he stared at young Taoist and said, "Ha ha 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 ha." Young Taoist formed a seal with his hands, and the little whisk in his hands exploded, forming an umbrella that covered the flames. At this moment, young Taoist sat cross-legged and took out a book from his bosom. The runes on the book floated up along with him as he recited it. The runes floated in the air, forming a wall of runes. Immortal Taoist scriptures. White King was slightly shocked. It's actually immortal Taoist scriptures. The immortal path is indeed the immortal path. I didn't know why people called you the immortal path in the past, but now I know. However, a mere immortal Taoist scriptures is not enough to stop me. The White King moved. Floating up, he directly stood in the center of the whirlpool, retracting his body. Boom! His body immediately entered the whirlpool, and the whirlpool became stronger and faster. The symbols became loose, and pong! One of them was sucked into the whirlpool. Bam! Another one was sucked in. Young Taoist's eyebrows tightened as he started chanting even faster. However, the vortex energy was being absorbed at an even faster rate. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! White King became excited and said, "Young Taoist, you can't stop me. Please disappear." Boom! The immortal scripture in young Taoist's hands was absorbed. Uffed! Young Taoist spat out another mouthful of blood. Seeing the immortal Taoist scriptures that was sucked away, he did not chase after it, but rather protected Long Fei. And at this moment, a voice resounded in Long Fei's mind. Ding! Long Fei had been in a muddled state the entire time, as if he was in a gigantic world of chaos. Long Fei had been in a muddled state the entire time, as if he was in a gigantic world of chaos. There was no sky, no earth, no sun, moon, or stars. Nothing. Even his consciousness was very weak. It was so weak that even he himself could not keep it in. It was as if he could die at any moment. After an unknown period of time, a prompt suddenly appeared in his mind. Ding! It was an incredibly strange sound. It was like a sudden clap of thunder in a silent world. Everything seemed to have awoken as Long Fei's consciousness shook violently. System's notification sound. Closed system beep. In that moment, Long Fei seemed to have grabbed onto life-saving straw of grass. His entire body shivered. Quick, quick, system quick, save me. As long as he could survive, Long Fei did not care. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for system upgrade. What? At this time, the system is upgrading itself. To level up your tit for a tat. To level up at this time? Are you trying to kill me? Long Fei scoffed. He did not know which level the system had leveled up in the moment of life and death. However, Long Fei was unable to control his own consciousness. The system had said that it would level up once it leveled up. There was no sign of getting Long Fei to agree at all. A progress bar immediately appeared in his mind, and he slowly advanced forward bit by bit. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his health point. The health point has been upgraded. Damn it, can't you do something more practical? I should recover my physical body first. Long Fei was extremely depressed. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Huh. This daddy's body is already a body of touty. How can my super divine body level up? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. All of your souls have leveled up. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up his sea of consciousness. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for upgrading his spiritual sea. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei. As the system continued to level up, notifications and prompts kept ringing in Long Fei's mind. Long Fei had never encountered such matters before. He understood how to upgrade his physical body. But what level did his health point increase to? Wasn't the upgrading of the spirit ocean, consciousness, and mind all due to leveling up? Why did he suddenly level up? What Long Fei needed the most right now wasn't just leveling up, but leveling up. As long as he leveled up, his body would be able to recover. He had even thought of letting the Archbishop use the alchemy. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. The level up notification sound continued. Long Fei was completely stunned by the system beep. Level, what I want is a level. The system did not respond. It was also at this moment. Young Taoist's body was trembling. He could no longer hold on. White King laughed cruelly. Young Taoist, you don't have any immortal Taoist scriptures left. How are you going to defend yourself? You can't stop me. Obediently step aside. I only want his life. White King smiled proudly. Young Taoist resisted the attack tenaciously. His clothes were torn to shreds by the huge vortex of energy, but he did not allow himself to escape, and he stood in front of Long Fei to protect him. Young Taoist said solemnly, I will never let you go. No. Then go to hell. White King savagely cried out, and the power of the vortex became even more frenzied. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for increasing his skin strength. All sorts of leveling up voices sounded out, causing Long Fei's head to explode when he heard it. Even hair, and hair has been leveled up. Are you going to arm me to the teeth? What system is this? What is the level up to? The system beep looked as if it had eaten Dazzling Spring and could not stop at all, was completely out of Long Fei's control. Just like what Long Fei had said, this time the system was upgraded to being fully armed to the teeth. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his level. Long Fei. Damn you! In every corner of his body, even the backyard flower had been upgraded. He could no longer find any places that had not been upgraded. Even his brain had been upgraded. The progress bar for the system upgrade became 100. Long Fei became anxious. Is it about to be completed? Is the new system ready? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Ultimate System 1. 0. Ultimate System? Damn, this name is so domineering. Ultimate System. Is this the strongest system? That's not right. Why is it still version 1? 0? Is it possible for me to level up as well? It doesn't matter if you level up or not. I just want to know when my body will recover. Long Fei moved his body and immediately opened the system. However, the system was not turned on. I'll go. System. Ding! Master, are you calling me? Suddenly, A huge loli wearing a three-point bikini floated in Long Fei's mind. Why was she called the Big Loli? It was because her voice was very childish, but her body, it could no longer be described with words. It was simply the existence of a perfect body. If not for Long Fei's body becoming a lump, the big brother underneath him would have been able to stand up immediately. Wow, such a pretty sister. If only... Long Fei thought about her naked appearance. System, I can become like any master. As soon as he finished, the system immediately changed. He was completely naked, and it was extremely clear, and it made people feel like they were unable to stop. Long Fei felt like his adrenaline was going crazy. He couldn't even control the blood in his nose. Damn! Quickly put on your clothes. Quick, quick, quick. I'm afraid I'll die soon. Long Fei did not dare think further. He was afraid that his weak consciousness could not handle the powerful impact. It was too damn tempting. Is this the system? This was welfare. This. He was simply the hitman of the otaku. With such a smooth system, if he could push himself to the end of his life, he might even be able to do it. This really is the ultimate system. This isn't the end. This is the end of the system. It's a good thing that my body was destroyed, or else I would be making a fool of myself. Long Fei rejoiced secretly. The system also changed. Master, don't you like my body? Long Fei said, I like, but it's better for you to wear some clothes now. Understood. The system laughed joyfully. The laughter was soft and melodious like the chimes of the wind in a mountain. It was extremely comfortable, and at this moment, he was wearing a school uniform. And it was even the type that belonged to the Japanese. Those two slender legs, short skirt, and two small ponytails were enough to kill him. Gudong! Long Fei really couldn't take it anymore. It gives people the urge to commit a crime. Wear more. At least my feet can't be exposed. The system replied, yes. He instantly changed into a different outfit. Puffed. If Long Fei had a normal body, he would definitely be coughing up blood right now, because in that instant, the system had changed into a professional secretary uniform. From a lowly, she instantly became a mature imperial sister. How could he control it? Damn it! Long Fei forced it out. The system asked sweetly, Master, are you in pain? His voice was the same as the secretary's. Long Fei instantly wanted to become the overbearing CEO, and then fiercely grabbed forward. Long Fei said, I want to die. The system was surprised for a moment, but immediately revealed a teary expression. Master, is it because of my bad service? Long Fei said, No, you are too good, so good that I am unable to control myself. The system said, Master, thank you for your praise. If you think I'm too beautiful, I can turn a little ugly. I can transform into whatever you want based on your needs. Rob, is it that strong? Long Fei was in disbelief. The system replied confidently, Yes, I am that strong. Long Fei said, Change into an old teacher and see. The system pouted and said, Scoundrel! And then a change instantly occurred. It was really the appearance of an old master that Long Fei imagined. Puffed, Long Fei spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Change back, change back. The system returned to its original state. Long Fei was excited. In his mind, he could see all sorts of goddesses on earth, all sorts of beauties at the fairy level, all sorts of beautiful women, all sorts of school beauties. He was getting more and more excited. However, the system suddenly said, Master, your body is very weak right now, and we detected a powerful force approaching you, threatening your body. Do you want to defend? Hearing what the system said, Long Fei's mind tensed up. He immediately dispelled the desire to let the system have his way. It was more important to save his life If he wanted to live, he could play with the system however he wanted. Long Fei said, "It can even activate its defense." The system replied, "Yes, master." Long Fei said, "Recover my body first." The system said, "My apologies, master. You will need to make a breakthrough in order to recover your body. I can't help you with that." "Master, we have detected a person dying beside you." "Young Taoist." Long Fei's heart trembled and immediately became anxious. "Hurry and help him." The system said, "Sorry, master, I can only serve you." Long Fei said, "Damn." The system immediately became downcast and said, "I'm sorry." His expression was clear. Is this the system? This was clearly an AI. Long Fei did not have time to think about this. How can I save him? How can I break through and level up? System, "Master, I offer you 108 options." Immediately, a series of choices appeared in Long Fei's mind. Long Fei felt dizzy. At this moment, he was very anxious young Taoist could not die, so the little guy was very nice to him. "Please use the simplest method." The system replied, "Okay." The system's power slightly circulated. Long Fei's body began to change. Huh. What's going on? My body. How did my body change? Long Fei was puzzled. He felt that he had become a weapon. The system said, "Master, you can remove the threat as long as he uses you." Long Fei asked, "What have I become now?" The system giggled and said, "A big stick." Long Fei. He was completely speechless. The system said, "Master, the person you wish to save is very dangerous. Please make your choice quickly." Long Fei's heart sank, not daring to waste any more time. The idea transmitted to young Taoist. "Young Taoist, hit him with me." Add large sections 2 as 1. Huh. Senior brother's voice? "Senior brother. You're awake." Young Taoist spoke with some difficulty. He turned around and saw that it was still a pile of Long Fei and was startled in his heart. "Did I see an illusion? Am I going to die soon?" "Senior brother, I'm sorry, I was unable to protect you." Young Taoist thought he was hallucinating. How could Long Fei possibly know how to speak? If he could speak, Master would not use the life-continuing lamp and would not need to enter the dark domain to search for Heart of Darkness. White King said proudly, "Taoist immortality, what nonsense are you spouting? You are about to die, and you still have the chance to do so under my tutelage, so I'll bring you into the dark realm. This is your last chance." The White King did not give up. The immortal world of the young Taoist was the power he needed. However, young Taoist was the same as before. Without hesitation, he said, "White King, make your move." "You're courting death." Repeated rejection made White King lose face. His words carried anger, and the swirl intensified, directly swallowing young Taoist into it. At this moment, Long Fei once again sent a sound transmission to the young Taoist and said, "Use me to beat him." "Senior brother," young Taoist was very clear-headed this time. Long Fei said, "You are not hallucinating. I can't explain that clearly to you. So use me to hit him. Quickly, use me to hit him." Young Taoist's health point was falling crazily. It was already a matter of time before his life came to an end. If he didn't act now, he would really be swallowed by the vortex. Young Taoist still had not reacted, but he did as he was told. Picking up a pile, Long Fei's heart secretly tensed up, and he said, "Senior brother, can you do it?" Long Fei roared out and said, "Attack." The young Taoist fiercely whipped out his hand, sweeping towards White King's whirlpool. White King sneered, "You're still trying to resist. It's useless. Your strength isn't on the same level as mine. Die." As soon as he finished, White King's expression changed. This, what kind of power is this?" Long Fei's body swept into the whirlpool. At that moment, Long Fei felt his body suddenly swell up. In that moment, he felt his body erupting with an endless power. Power explosion. Rumble. 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 The explosive force of the explosion frenziedly wreaked havoc in the surroundings. In less than a second, the whirlpool of White King of Dark Area seemed to have been stopped by a slap and instantly disappeared. White King of Dark Area spat out a mouthful of blood, and his entire body flew out. Bam! He hit a stone pillar. His body bounced down. Puff! After spitting out another mouthful of blood. His face was originally a sickly white, but now it looked even more sickly. With much effort, he crawled back up, stared at young Taoist, and said, "You." Young Taoist's heart trembled. "Senior brother, why is there such a strong power in your body?" Long Fei said, "We'll talk about this later." "Faster. While he's sick, I want his life. Quickly kill him." As long as he killed the White King, Long Fei would be able to obtain the same level as the White King, and his body would be able to recover completely. Quick, quick, Long Fei urged. The ultimate system had no way of restoring his physical body, and leveling up was his only way out. He had to level up. Long Fei's heart secretly tensed up. Young Taoist nodded. "All right." He took Long Fei and walked towards White King. White King of Dark Area's eyes turned cold. He looked at young Taoist and said, "It's simply impossible for you to have such a powerful strength. The only possibility is—" White King of Dark Area stared at the Long Fei in young Taoist's hands and said faintly, "Eternal Lord." The power of the Eternal Lord. White King of Dark Area was shocked. Seeing the young Taoist approaching, he slightly retreated. Young Taoist's speed changed. White King of Dark Area bellowed, "Monarch Beast!" Roar! The super demon king, who had walked out with him from the darkness, suddenly rushed out and pounced towards young Taoist. "Beat him!" Long Fei shouted. Young Taoist took Long Fei and slapped him hard. Boom! Awoo! The super demon king fell to the ground, moaning in pain. "Senior brother is so fierce." Young Taoist became excited. Long Fei was also incomparably excited. "So fierce! Oh my, how did I become so fierce? My body actually has such power? That's not right. When did the system become so powerful? Isn't this system too human?" The system giggled. "Master, you are borrowing your future power." "What?" Long Fei was slightly taken aback. The system explained, "Your body has been upgraded, but your strength has not reached this level yet. The power you just released was to borrow your future strength and overdraw. Overdraft in advance." "Holy shit, the system still has such power? Awesome. Then give me an even stronger opponent and kill him." Long Fei was secretly shocked. This system was too overpowered. A credit card? Or was it the borrowing system? The system said, "Your quota has been exceeded. You are no longer able to use the power of the future. Moreover, you have to repay the debt 3 times over to the future. If you cannot, then one day in the future, or at a certain time period, your power will disappear for a short period of time." Long Fei. He was speechless. He could still do this. Knew that it would be repaid using 3 times the usual method, but this was definitely a high-interest loan. Moreover, how would he repay it now? There was no way to repay him at all. His only fate was to suddenly lose his strength one day, or at a critical moment like that. That was the worst part, because you don't even know what day it is. What if a boss was only missing a tiny bit of HP? What if he was chased by the powerhouse? What if it was during a clap? There are too many uncertainties, and this overdraft system is a little scary. It was a bit of a scam. However, Long Fei was unhappy. Is that all I have? Can it be higher? I used to operate 3,000 to 5,000 credit cards on Earth, and yet they were used up in such a short time? It's too little, isn't it? The system said, Master, the overdraft system is based on your current physical condition and your current level. Long Fei said, then you should still look down on Lousy for being weak. At this time, young Taoist did not know about all this, but he still increased his speed and rushed towards White King of Dark Area. He had been bullied to such an extent. Why couldn't he get back at him now? White King of Dark Area's pupils contracted as he quickly escaped. Young Taoist crazily chased. You were bullying me just now? You want to kill me? Now it's my turn. They were about to catch up with the heavily injured White King of Dark Area. At this time, Long Fei suddenly said, why don't we forget about it? In the past, Long Fei would never have said such a thing. In the past, Long Fei would never have said such a thing. How could he not explode when he saw the boss? Even if he didn't die, he would die, but now he was too weak. This was because he was no longer able to overdraw his future strength. Not only that, although White King of Dark Area was severely injured, he was still heavily injured, and his injuries were even worse than White King of Dark Area's. If White King of Dark Area knew that Long Fei's power had disappeared, the two of them would die. Young Taoist was startled, then said, Senior brother, you cannot let him go. He just wanted to kill you. Long Fei said, I know, aren't the common saying that saving a person's life is better than creating a 7th-level pagoda? If we let him go, he will also win against those who have made 7 levels of Buddha. Very bitter. Long Fei's heart was bleeding. Seeing that the boss didn't have much HP left, he actually wanted to let it go. He had never experienced such a bitter situation. Young Taoist asked, Senior brother, when did you become so merciful? This isn't like you. Long Fei replied, Amitabha. He thought to himself, I was also forced into a corner. Young Taoist slowed down and increased the distance between them. He was already standing on the edge of the darkness. With just one more move, he would be able to enter the darkness, and the young Taoist would not be able to kill him. White King of Dark Area looked at young Taoist with some doubt. If you could catch up to me just now, why didn't you make a move? Young Taoist said. Senior brother said, I thought you were a dog that was released. White King of Dark Area's eyes turned sinister, but he did not dare get angry because the power of the Eternal Lord made him feel incomparable fear, and he did not want to try that overwhelming strength again in his entire life. Young Taoist said in an imposing tone, Get lost already? The White King of Dark Area said, solemnly, Qingshan will not change. With the flow of green water, one day I will come back. Young Taoist raised his Long Fei and said, Come back and try it out. White King of Dark Area jumped into the darkness and disappeared. Who? Long Fei heaved a long sigh of relief. Young Taoist was still puzzled. Senior brother, we can't let a person like Duke Bai go. Why are you letting him go? He has killed countless people, and many of them were innocent. Long Fei said bitterly, I want to kill him too, but my power is gone. Cold sweat covered young Taoist's forehead. His heart was filled with lingering fear as he said, Fortunately, he stopped. If he knew that your power had disappeared, he would definitely not stop. I am very lucky. Young Taoist sat on the ground. His eyes were blurry, and then he sat down cross-legged and started meditating. Long Fei did not disturb him. Young Taoist had just been severely injured, and his immortal Taoist scriptures had been destroyed, so his vitality was greatly injured. Long Fei was also very weak. Although he was borrowing the power of the future, it was released through his body. He was already very weak to begin with, and as a result, he became even weaker. However, although he was weak, Long Fei still wanted to understand a lot of things, especially this ultimate system. Long Fei asked, "Are you a system or an intelligent system?" If the system was dead, then it was different if it was an AI. The system was just a program. It was executed according to the instructions of the program. The intellectual brain had its own consciousness, had all sorts of judgments, and was not controlled by anyone or any commands. The system replied, "I don't know either." "Huh," Long Fei said. "Can you think about it?" He asked a very simple question. While the system could not think, the intellectual brain could. "System, what is thinking?" Long Fei replied, "I was just thinking of a problem." System, "I can think of a problem, but the questions I want to ask are how to serve the owner and provide you with all the convenient solutions. Hee hee. Master, I was born for you." The system felt that it was immature. However, one thing Long Fei could confirm was that she was not part of the system and that it was not possible to confirm with her intellectual brain. This was because the system would not answer his question in such a manner. Long Fei said, "What do you know?" The system replied, "I know everything when I give birth to a child." Very confident, Long Fei said, "Really?" The system was still very confident. "Of course," Long Fei said, "then let me restore my physical body." System, Long Fei said, "Could it be?" The system replied weakly, "I don't know how to." It was a very depressed look on her face. Like a little lowly who had done something wrong, she lowered her head and weakly said, "Other than these two, I know everything." Long Fei said again, "Can you overdraft another power for me?" System, Long Fei said, "It won't happen again, right?" The system replied, "I know everything except these three." Long Fei said, "Then why don't you tell me about Ma Lisi?" System, Long Fei said, "It can't be?" "Then write a short story for me. It's been a long time since I last read a novel, so I feel itchy inside." System, Long Fei said, "You don't know how to?" All kinds of questions, all kinds of questions. Finally, the system lowered its head until it was about to fall to the ground. Its body was completely smashed by Long Fei's various questions. Its body was curled up into a ball as it squatted there and muttered, "Master, I'm wrong. I feel like I don't know anything. I have never even heard of the things that you're talking about before, let alone know about it." He was extremely depressed. Pucci, Long Fei couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Ha ha." "Don't be sad. I won't do that either." The system was stunned. "Ah," Long Fei said, "the questions that I made up, there is simply nothing that I don't know how to answer." The system asked, "Really?" Long Fei said, "I was just teasing you earlier. I didn't expect you to be serious." "Humph. Master, you bastard." The system spoke in a lowly voice. Long Fei laughed. The angry look of the system was really cute. He seemed to be laughing, but in his heart he was thinking, this system shouldn't be from Earth, nor is it from Earth's technology. It must be from some higher level technology in the universe to be able to develop such a system. How powerful is this plane? The questions he had just asked were all from Earth. If it was the system from Earth, then she would know the answer, but the system didn't know anything at all, which meant that she came from another high-tech plane. As for what plane it was impossible to imagine, but it must be very strong. The level of a plane's strength was not determined solely by the strength of the martial arts training's user. Many super technological planes possessed power stronger than almighty powerhouses. Even many powerhouses were controlled by the technological planes. A few days ago, Long Fei still possessed the Killing and upgrading system, but now it had become the ultimate system, which definitely meant that someone was controlling it. The simple test just now showed that the creator of this intellectual brain was definitely not someone from Earth. Who? It's useless even if I think about the creator of the system now. My top priority right now is to recover this lump of flesh. At the very least, I can transform the system into all sorts of postures that I want. Long Fei muttered in his heart. The system was very strong. The system was very strong. Long Fei had yet to develop many strong attributes. But none of this is a problem. The question was, when would his body recover? Right now, he could no longer overdraw his power. In other words, if the Dark Realm came to the powerhouse again, both he and the young Taoist would die. The most important thing is to restore my fleshly body. I have to preserve my life before I recover my physical body. Only by living can I have everything. Long Fei secretly thought in his heart, but he was now a lump of dirt, and he was using the 7 flame flowers petal to replenish his life. Lights went out, and people died. Even with the powerful system in his body, there was nothing he could do. The system was only supplementary. Everything was still up to Long Fei. To become stronger would depend on oneself. The system knew exactly what Long Fei was thinking. Master, I have no way to help you recover your physical body, but I can make him stronger. Who? Long Fei was startled and couldn't react for a moment. The system said, "That young Taoist, I just checked his cultivation strength. He cultivates the power of immortal Taoist scriptures. The immortal Taoist scriptures he cultivates is only the upper half, and there is still the lower half." Huh. Long Fei trembled inwardly and excitedly asked, "You know about the immortal Taoist scriptures?" System, I guess you know about it because I guessed that there's still the second half of the immortal Taoist scriptures that he cultivates. What? Long Fei was even more shocked. You want to rely on speculation? Have you seen immortal Taoist scriptures? The system said, "No, but I will deduce that I have a strong computational ability, so I should be able to deduce the second half of the immortal Taoist scriptures." He hadn't even looked at it. Just because they knew that the strength cultivated by the young Taoist was from immortal Taoist scriptures, they could deduce the second half. How amazing was this? It's a fantasy story, right? It was just like a book. To be able to deduce the bottom half after reading the first half was too powerful. Long Fei said in shock. "First, tell me what the lower half of immortal Taoist scriptures looks like." The system said, "I don't know how many parts the immortal Taoist scriptures is split into, but looking at the cultivation method of the young Taoist, it should be the first part, and it is also known as the classic defense. Strength is defense. Attack the lower half. Its main strength lies in its attack. It has developed thousands upon thousands of Tao powers in the path of immortality." The system replied. Hearing that, Long Fei was stunned. TSK, that's really incredible. This time, I'm going to explode." He immediately transmitted to young Taoist, "Junior brother, don't be in such a hurry to recover. I have something to tell you." He needed to know if the second half of the immortal Taoist scriptures the system had calculated could fit the first half. Young Taoist opened his eyes and spat out a mouthful of impure qi. His face was still pale as he said, "Senior brother, speak." Long Fei asked, "You train in immortal Taoist scriptures?" Young Taoist replied. Long Fei said, "You train in the upper half and are also called the classic of defense." Young Taoist was secretly shocked and said, "How did you know?" "The immortal Taoist scriptures is split into 2 parts. What I am training in is the first part. It's just that the immortal Taoist scriptures was destroyed just now." Sigh? Long Fei said, "Do you want to cultivate the second half?" Young Taoist said, "Senior brother, are you talking about the second half of the immortal Taoist scriptures? Meridian attacking?" Long Fei said, "That's right." Young Taoist immediately said, "Impossible. Although the immortal Taoist scriptures is split into 2, the second half has never appeared. No one knows where he is. If not, I would have definitely found him." Long Fei said, "Now, tell me if you want to learn or not." It seemed like the system was right. Immortal Taoist scriptures were really split into two, above for defense. The next attack. Now it all depended on the system's calculation for accuracy, young Taoist said excitedly. Of course I want to be able to cultivate to the second half of the immortal Taoist scriptures. That is my greatest wish. Even death is worth it. Long Fei said. Then listen carefully. Young Taoist nodded and said, Please speak, senior brother. His heart became excited. The immortal Taoist scriptures was one of the most valuable treasures of the wild universe. It and the eternal coffin coexisted in the world. However, no one knew where the second half of the stone tablet was. There were all sorts of rumors, but regarding these rumors, the young Taoist had searched for them, but to no avail. Now that he suddenly appeared, the young Taoist's heart could no longer be described as excited. Long Fei thought, System, please begin your performance. The system replied, Yes, I'm going to start the calculation now. Immediately, Long Fei felt his brain shrinking as all sorts of strange characters started to appear in his brain. It was as if there was a supercomputer calculating something. A few seconds later, the system began speaking. She said one sentence, and Long Fei followed. Young Taoist read it silently. After a few consecutive sentences, young Taoist seemed to be radiant as his body trembled, and his eyes flashed. Senior brother, it's really, 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 really is immortal Taoist scriptures. This. He was extremely excited. Long Fei was also extremely shocked in his heart. It's an explosive display system. Too strong. Right now, I want to meet Universal Realm. I want to ask Emperor Xian if you are afraid. With such a system, wouldn't it be invincible? If he wasn't invincible, then he really wouldn't be able to survive. Long Fei was completely convinced by the system's power. It was too valiant. This fellow was not a system at all. He was definitely a brain, and a super brain at that. Long Fei hated the fact that he couldn't immediately return to Universal Realm and wanted to look for her, let alone God's tribe, right now. Even if it was Universal Realm or both, he could still overturn them. I don't know who helped me, but if I am able to meet you one day, I will definitely thank you. Long Fei thought in his heart, he truly had to thank the creator of this system. This was the first time Long Fei wanted to thank the creator of the system. In just half an hour, the 3,000 characters, long lower half of the immortal Taoist scriptures, was calculated by the system. Huff, huff. The system was out of breath. Master, the calculation is complete. So tired. I need to get some rest. I'm going to bed. After he finished speaking, he disappeared from Long Fei's mind. It was just like when you ran out of energy and needed to charge. Long Fei said indifferently, Rest well. Boom, boom. From the darkness, the sound of heavy footsteps could be heard. After a few seconds, a tall and sturdy middle-aged man with a super battle axe on his shoulder and a heavy armor on his body walked out. Black mist shrouded his entire body. Looking at the cross-legged young Taoist in front of him, he said with a deep voice, The one who wants to take your life is here. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, a loud sound exploded in the air. Someone stronger than the White King of Dark Area. Young Taoist raised his eyes. Crazy King of Dark Area. The corner of his mouth revealed a hint of a smile. A confident smile. Young Taoist stood up, crooked his fingers, and said, Come. Crazy King of Dark Area, one of the 3 kings of the underworld. Crazy King of Dark Area, one of the 3 kings of the underworld. His main focus was on insanity, regardless of whether it was strength or physique. They were both so strong that they would explode. The giant axe on his shoulder fell. Boom. A thick layer of space directly shattered as Wang took a step forward while staring at young Taoist. The immortal path. You defeated the White King? Kacha, Kacha. The axe dragged on the ground, causing sparks to fly out along with a crackling sound, and an ear-piercing explosion sounded out in Hall of Eternal Life, causing people to feel a sense of dread in their hearts. Young Taoist said, "It's not me who defeated him. It's my senior brother." Kwong Wong looked at the pile of long fei behind young Taoist and disdainfully laughed. "Future Eternal Lord?" TCH. Him. The Savage King revealed a cold smile. Young Taoist said, "Yes, senior brother." The Savage King said, "I'm here, then he will become a dead man. He won't be alive for long anyway. Your master should be dying in the dark. How can he get the Heart of Darkness? How dangerous was the Dark Realm? How strong was he? He knew better than anyone that if he wanted to obtain the Heart of Darkness, he would have to face all kinds of calamities. It could be said that he had a slim chance of survival, even the Hall Master of the Hall of Eternal Life himself." The space between young Taoist's eyebrows tightened slightly, and said, "There is nothing in these 3,000 worlds that Master cannot accomplish. He will definitely be able to retrieve the Heart of Darkness." Ha ha ha. Kwong Wong laughed out wildly and said, "So what if we have obtained it? Save a dead person?" Boom. The axe was suddenly raised. Black gas shrouded the entire area. Kwong Wong looked at the axe edge and said, "Under the death battle axe, all undeads are not allowed to live. Even the gods are the same." The battle axe exploded with a buzzing sound. On the black axe blade, a dark light shone. Power surged, and it was extremely fierce. All sorts of fierce roars rang out, just like a source spirit's roar. As soon as he finished, the Savage King slightly leaned forward and said faintly, "Immortal path, here I come." Boom. His body moved and disappeared into thin lines. In the blink of an eye, the battle axe moved. Rumble! 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 Hall of Eternal Life was trembling, and a black streak of light descended from the sky. Before Crazy King of Dark Area even appeared, his battle axe had already landed. The power of the explosion caused the space around young Taoist to constantly shatter. Twisted. Die. The Savage King let out a heavy cry. If it was in the past, young Taoist might not be able to hold on. But now, he revealed a confident smile as his right hand gently moved and muttered, "Wung, wung, wung." Right on top of his body, golden runes began to float one by one. It floated out from his body. Crazy King of Dark Area laughed coldly in disdain and said, "Immortal Taoist scriptures? This power. Too weak. Kill." He grabbed the handle of the battle axe and swung it down. However, in that moment, the runes floating on young Taoist's body flew out one by one, pasting onto the black battle axe, pasting onto Crazy King of Dark Area's body. Young Taoist raised his eyes and softly shouted, "Attack!" Break. The word understatement suddenly exploded with boundless power at this moment. Rumble! Rumble! Crazy King of Dark Area immediately exploded outwards. The axe that was chopped down exploded into pieces and heavily fell to the side. "Senior brother is so strong." Young Taoist was extremely shocked, and his eyes blazed with excitement. "Senior brother is really strong." Puffed. Crazy King of Dark Area spat out a mouthful of blood. He looked at his chest, where the golden characters had formed a brand, and felt a sharp pain. "What kind of power is this?" Crazy King of Dark Area said fiercely, "It's impossible for immortal Taoist scriptures to have such powerful strength." He was extremely unhappy. Young Taoist smiled faintly and said, "The power of the immortal Taoist scriptures. Impossible." Crazy King of Dark Area's face turned sinister. War axe freeze. His 5 fingers clawed fiercely. The power of air was taking things out from the sky, and at that instant, the shattered battle axes quickly condensed and reassembled into a battle axe. Boom! Holding the battle axe in his hand, the black mist exploded forth. The crazy king of dark areas' eyes flashed, flying into the air. His entire body started spinning. Raging kings slash. The spinning wind blades came crashing down like war axes. Young Taoist smiled and said, "You don't believe me? Then call until you believe." As soon as his voice faded, young Taoist started chanting once more as golden runes flew out from his body and continuously flew into the air like little elves. Attack! Break! It was another two bland sounds. Rumble! After several explosions, the tornado stopped. Crazy King of Dark Area looked at the few golden runes on his body and frowned, his strong physique suddenly swelling up. Boom! Crazy King of Dark Area shouted. He wanted to shake the rune off. However, it was completely useless. The symbol plunged into the flesh. The crazy King of Dark Area could not endure it any longer and screamed miserably. Explode! Young Taoist shouted. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Crazy King of Dark Area directly dropped down from the sky, and his body exploded. Blood spewed out from his body, and he was blasted into the darkness, releasing an incomparably terrifying sound. I will definitely come back. With that, the figure disappeared. He was in an extremely sorry state. Young Taoist did not chase after him, but instead jumped in joy. Senior brother, did you see that? Did you see that? Crazy King of Dark Area was severely injured by me. The lower half of the immortal Taoist scriptures is really too powerful. Did you see that? Young Taoist was incomparably excited. He had never been happier. He was shocked. Long Fei was also equally shocked and thought to himself, this system is really heaven-defying. To be able to deduce the strength of the second half from the immortal Taoist scriptures, his thinking was 100 million times better than a martial arts master's. Even a god couldn't compare to it. Awesome. It really was awesome. Long Fei could not help but ask, who exactly developed this system? In the future, with this system, I don't have to worry about not being able to cultivate super martial arts anymore. Long Fei was excited. He looked at the system lowly whose body was curled up tightly, and he secretly smiled. I fired off 2 of the 3 kings of the dark domain. That's not right. It should be the senior brother who chased them away. The young Taoist was excited. Seeing that Long Fei's flame was flickering and that 14 hours had passed, he immediately lit the third 7-flame flower petal and looked at the remaining 4 petals. He could not help but say, young Taoist was very worried. He was worried about Long Fei and also worried about his master. Long Fei said, "Don't worry, master will definitely answer and come back." In terms of worry, Long Fei was more worried than the young Taoist. In order to prevent the young Taoist from worrying, Long Fei changed the topic and asked, "Oh, right, junior brother, I still don't know what you are called." Young Taoist's face immediately blushed red. She refused to say. However, a voice came from the darkness. "I know his name. I know his name. I know his name." As soon as he finished, young Taoist was like a cat whose feet had been stepped on. She suddenly jumped up, her expression extremely nervous. Her cheeks were red from her nervousness. He could even hear the sound of his heart beating. He was very nervous. He was extremely nervous. He was even more nervous than when he saw the White King of Dark Area and the Wild King. Drip, drip. Light footsteps came from the darkness, like the sound of dripping water. Then, a woman. To be exact, it should be an incomparably enchanting, peerlessly beautiful woman. She dragged her long dress as she walked out of the darkness step by step. Her appearance was otherworldly, and her figure made people feel like they were unable to stop themselves. He would never forget it. Moreover, she will always be imprinted in your mind. The moment the woman walked out, young Taoist's face became even redder, like a blushing young lady. He did not dare to look straight at the woman. He didn't even dare to look at them. Long Fei asked, "Who is she?" Young Taoist did not say anything, but the woman said softly, "Dark Goddess, Charm King of Dark Area." He was the leader of the 3 kings in the underworld. He could also be said to be the ruler of the dark domain. The White King had fallen into the dark realm because of her. The Wild King became crazy because of her. Her influence was unparalleled. Long Fei trembled slightly and said, "You can hear me?" Long Fei and young Taoist only spoke with sound transmission, so Long Fei couldn't even make a sound out from his mouth. Charm King of Dark Area stared at young Taoist and said indifferently, "I can hear any sound in the world, including your heartbeat." The first sentence was a reply to Long Fei. The last sentence was said to the young Taoist. "Damn, this power is really amazing." Long Fei said, "Junior brother, does she know you?" The young Taoist nodded. "Not only do I know him, I am also the person who knows him the most. I am also—" Her eyes narrowed slightly, and she did not continue speaking. There was only a hint of loneliness and sadness in his eyes. Long Fei said, "There's a story." Dark Goddess withdrew his words, revealing an ice-cold, heartless expression, and said, "I know what his name is. He's called Be on Guard." Caution? Long Fei was secretly shocked. "Damn, junior brother, you're really called a lethargic person?" It was already amazing that he could stop coloring. His vigilance became even stronger. Young Taoist's face was even redder as he said, "This is the name Master gave me." Long Fei said, "You're just a little kid. Why would you mind?" "Abstinence from kinship?" Dark Goddess said, "What he abstained from is love. It's my love." Long Fei was stunned. Charm King of Dark Area suddenly took a step forward, as if she was unable to control her emotions. She lightly landed in front of young Taoist, looked at him lovingly, and said, "Dao, follow me. I am willing to give up on everything, as long as you are willing to be with me. I can do anything you want me to do. It's fine, even if you destroy the entire dark domain, as long as you are with me." The words were moving and came from the heart. Long Fei was dumbfounded. He said, "About that, can I interrupt?" Charm King of Dark Area said, "Speak." Long Fei said, "My junior brother is only a child. Isn't it bad if you tell him this? He's just a kid. If you really want to find a man, wait for me. If you have anything you want, just come at me." He could feel that the Charm King of Dark Area was very beautiful. He could not understand why such a beautiful woman would say such words to a child. Pedophilia? Impossible. Charm King of Dark Area looked at young Taoist and said, "This is his 6th time passing on his legacy." Long Fei trembled. "Junior brother, 6th reincarnation?" "Rob. No wonder he's so fierce. He's actually a 6th transition Supreme Elder." Young Taoist did not speak. The Charm King of Dark Area said, "Every time he reincarnated, he couldn't forget me. So this time, the reincarnated Lord of Eternal Life Hall gave him the title of Rest. But you still can't forget me, right? You still have me in your heart, don't you? You still love me, don't you?" The Tao, "I love you too. I've never forgotten about you. No matter how many times you reincarnate, I'll always be waiting for you. Follow me. We'll go wherever you want to go. I beg of you." She was begging for young Taoist's love. Long Fei was slightly moved. Young Taoist shook his head lightly and said, "I'm sorry, I have not completed the great way of the Buddha. The great Tao." Long Fei's heart trembled again. What heavenly Tao? These Tao techniques were useless in front of the Great Tao. However, what is the Great Way? It was hard to say, but Long Fei was not a cultivator, so he naturally did not know what the Great Way was. The Great Tao, the Great Tao, the Great Tao again. Was the Great Way really that important? Is it really more important than me? Charm King of Dark Area was unable to control his emotions. Young Taoist did not say anything, only clenching his fists tightly. Charm King of Dark Area said, "All right, I don't object if you want to cultivate on the Great Way of cultivation, but must I train here? Can't you cultivate by my side?" The young Taoist remained silent. From the moment Dark Goddess appeared, he had not even glanced at him once. It wasn't that he didn't dare to. It wasn't that he couldn't bear it. It was because he was afraid. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself. He had reincarnated 6 times, and every time there would always be a woman branded in his mind. From beginning to end, he would never forget her. Long Fei said, "Junior brother, what she said is right. Cultivators do not need to be on guard. Cultivation is important, but the people around you are also important," young Taoist said. "Senior brother, I can't." Charm King of Dark Area replied heavily, You can't. What can't you do? Tell me, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What do you want from me? Tell me, how would I know if you didn't tell me?" Charm King of Dark Area lost control and asked heavily. She looked at young Taoist, her heart bleeding. It was painful, very painful. Tears rolled down his face. Drip, drip, drip. Young Taoist looked at the tears on the ground, but he did not raise his head. "Ah!" Charm King of Dark Area suddenly screamed out, "I've heard enough of your apology." At this moment, buzz, buzz. The power on Charm King of Dark Area's body exploded out. "Didn't you want to cultivate the Great Tao? Then let me see what your path is." Ah! Another roar. The power from Charm King of Dark Area's body surged wildly. Young Taoist suddenly sat down cross-legged. He started to recite a chant, and the golden runes started to float on his body once again. But he didn't fly out and didn't attack Charm King of Dark Area's body. He couldn't bear it. Long Fei could feel the pain in the young Taoist's heart. He could feel that the young Taoist also liked the Dark Goddess, but he had given up love for the Tao. This was also Long Fei's understanding. Didn't know what it was for. So he simply said, "To ask what is love in this world, it directly causes one's life and death to be on the line." That you're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.